All right, guys, A Court of Wings and Ruin. So this book was, well, I could say my favorite in the series so far, but the first book I feel like is very different from the following books. So the first book is kind of, I did enjoy that one, and it sort of stood on its own as its own thing. Mist and Fury, whatever. Wings and Ruin, I did enjoy. I thought something that was interesting about it was the fact that there was a war going on in this book. And so it wasn't only just about kind of relationshipy, who's she gonna get with type of stuff. And I did think it was interesting to see the characters strategizing for the upcoming war. I'm trying to think of what else nice I can say about it before I jump into my criticisms. Go ahead and read it if you feel like it, but I did have some complaints, and these will involve spoilers. So if you've not read the book, earmuffs. Stop watching the video if you have not read the book and you don't want spoilers. Unless you do, because maybe you might be thinking, I don't know if I'm interested in the book. Okay, so what we're... Okay, as I was reading the book, they're going into a war, right? We all know this now because the people who haven't read the book have clicked off. So I was thinking to myself, out of the main characters, we got 6 kind of protagonists in this friend group: Feyre, Rhysand, Cassian, Azriel, Mor, and Amren. And I'm thinking, okay, well, somebody's gotta die in this war, right? Because this war has been built up to be this huge, big, scary, very dangerous thing, right? So I'm thinking to myself, I wonder who is gonna die. And at that point in time, it kind of seemed like, you know what? It's got to be Azriel. Because as much as I actually would probably say Azriel is one of my favorite characters in the book, he's got this unrequited love, and he's close to the main characters, but not so close that if somebody has to die, it couldn't be him. Like, out of these 6 people, who's, a little bit dispensable, right? And, yeah, messages on my phone. Okay, so that was my prediction. I was texting someone I know who has read the book. I'm texting them my guesses as I'm reading it. And I said, it's either going to be Azriel is going to die or nobody's going to die. And, if nobody dies, then that just kind of shows no guts on behalf of the author, I think, because this was supposed to be a really high stakes war. Well, guess what? Nobody died. Nobody died. But we did get 2 resurrections. And I must say, Sarah J. Maas, I'm assuming it's pronounced Maas. Don't listen to this because, whatever. I don't want to criticize you personally, but dude, she is lame for putting 2 plot twist fake outs at the end. Amren there's the first fake out is, Amren betrayed us, right? And that would have actually been an interesting plot line. That had me on the edge of my seat when I was reading it. Like, whoa, this person who was the second in command and now she's turned traitor. That's so wild, and it's going to end up screwing up the whole war for them. The fact that she's betraying them, and then, just kidding. Author couldn't have written something that would have been interesting like that. That was just a little gotcha moment. And then Amren dies, and you think, okay, Amren's Does Amren die before Rhysand? I don't remember which one came first. Doesn't matter. Anyways, Rhysand dies. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, I didn't see that coming, because he is the husband of the protagonist. And what a shocker, right? Although there was the love triangle thing built in, and Tamlin did protect Feyre, even though they're obviously, they're not in the same place right now with each other. They're not on good terms right now, but he did protect her when he had the chance, and I knew that he would get that chance. And I was excited to see that moment, actually, of what I was hoping. This is aside. What I was hoping would happen would be that at some point on their in either in the war or when Feyre was in trouble, she was getting chased down. I was hoping that Feyre and Tamlin would have the opportunity to save Feyre, and not only would he do it, but then the two of them would end up isolated somewhere, stranded for a while, and they would have the chance to talk just one-on-one about everything that they've been going through. We haven't actually seen them having a one-on-one genuine conversation since Feyre left, and I think that would be really interesting to see. But that scene, he did save her like how I knew he would, but then it was like glimpsed over really fast. She just was fine, and she didn't know what happened to him, and she didn't really care too much. Bring it back to now where I was talking about Rhysand dies, because the reason that I went off on that tangent is because I was thinking to myself, perhaps because it was a love triangle, but then she got married, so that makes it a love line. There's no triangle anymore because she's married and she's mated. Really into that in this book. Love triangle over, right? But if Rhysand dies, then maybe it does come back in that eventually, you know, she works through her grief, and her and Tamlin becomes a place of comfort for her. They work through their issues. Like, I could have seen that. I do think it would have been a strange plot line. But also, as I was reading the book, the husband was getting killed, so, you know, I'm just guessing at where this could go. But it didn't go there, and it actually didn't go anywhere because he just got resurrected immediately. And this is the third resurrection that we've seen in this book. Feyre's gotten resurrected, and Rhysand gets resurrected, and then just because, Amren gets resurrected too. And Cassian got gravely injured, but he got healed. He was fine. So it made me feel like, man, this lady has got no guts to write something that would actually be interesting. And she has the ideas, but she can't follow through because she's putting these little, oh, plot twist, Amren betrayed us. Oh, plot twist, Rhysand dies. And then it's just a joke. It's just fake. It's not real. There's actually no stakes. And it just made me feel like, man, what a boring choice to make. And also, if you weren't gonna kill Rhysand, why even bring it up? If you weren't gonna kill Amren, why even bring it up? And then you didn't kill anybody. They had no significant losses. Her dad died, okay? And guess what? Who cares? Because this is not a character who we have been attached to throughout the series. In fact, if anything, Feyre doesn't really like her dad. Her dad showing up, I knew that he was going to show up at one point. To be honest, what I was expecting was going to happen is that the enemy was going to have captured him and try to use him as a, like, threatening his life against Feyre, like, as some kind of leverage. That's what I thought was going to happen. The fact that he showed up with an army was, first of all, a little bit unbelievable and random. And nobody cares that he dies. Really. According to the book, his kids care, but as the reader, there's no emotional weight to it. You have to be willing to kill a character, you know, at least, like, I don't want to always, I hope it's not bothering people that I always am comparing this, like, Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or other fantasy, but, like, you know, Boromir dies, Fred dies, Lupin and Tonks die, so there has to be some kind of a price other than just the stress of going to war in order for it to feel like it actually was risky. And they did not have a Boromir. They just had pretend, you know. I didn't think it would be Cassian just because I knew that Cassian and Nesta had that. Like, it's not, nothing's happened yet, but it was like in the air. You could tell that those feelings were there. That's why I thought it would be Azriel, because he had unrequited love. And speaking of things that are random and unrequited love, he has got a crush on Mor, and Mor had a coming out scene in this book, which seemed incredibly random. It was right before they go to war. To be honest, her coming out scene seemed very out of nowhere, and I don't really buy it that she would feel comfortable as a character confiding in Feyre, because she's not coming out to everybody, only to Feyre, and she doesn't want anybody else to know. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you've got her close friends who she has known for centuries. She's Mor, but Azriel, Cassian, Rhysand, her and Rhys are particularly close. And I'm supposed to buy the fact that she would not confide in these people who she's been close to for centuries, even though she's gone out of her way to try and make Azriel think that she's not interested in him for other reasons because she likes other guys, even though she knows that he's in love with her. But then she meets Feyre, who she's known for 1 year max, and Feyre has gained her trust enough that she would trust Feyre with such personal information. Just somebody make a case to me for why she would trust Feyre and not Rhys with that information. I don't believe that she would... It doesn't make sense that she would feel comfortable telling Feyre, but uncomfortable telling Rhys. And it needs to be a secret from Rhys. And even when she tells Feyre, Feyre says, I won't let Rhys know. Why can Rhys not know? Am I really supposed to buy that she's closer with Feyre than him? I don't buy that. I don't think so. Let's see, what else? Okay, yeah, the resurrections. It was too much resurrection at the end. It just makes it all meaningless. And then, also, in this war, there was 2 death gods, the Weaver and the Bone Carver, that were participating on their side of the war. And there's a lot of this book, not necessarily with the Weaver, but specifically Feyre trying to get the Bone Carver to join them. And I felt like, oh, that's an interesting plot line. And when they go to war, the death gods are like going crazy, killing a bunch of people, right? And then although again, our protagonist friend group has got no losses, both of the death gods get killed almost kind of like it was nothing. They're the gods of death, but they were very, very easily killed by the king of Hybern. And the idea is that it's because he has the cauldron. I'm thinking, High Fae with a cauldron versus death gods. it didn't seem like it should be so easy. And after all the effort that it took to get them to join the war, I was very surprised to see how quickly she killed them. But then her favorites were fine. So those are my questions about this book. Why, Sarah J. Maas, I hope you didn't listen to this because I don't want to hurt your feelings. Maybe you don't even care what I say. But if you're watching this, can you throw me in the comments why was there no losses? Why so many resurrections and no losses? But the death gods just, oh, she got her neck snapped, the weaver, or, you know, it was just too easy. But yeah, so that's the Lord of Wings and Ruin. Do I recommend the book? I have already said this. I bought the whole series after I read the first book. If I'd read the second book, I probably wouldn't have bought the whole series. But, you know, it's okay. It's okay. It's not great. It's kind of almost like Twilight, I feel like, where it's like, yeah, read it once and there's something in there that's like somewhat interesting, but it's more dumb than it is interesting. It's more dumb than interesting. This is not as bad as Twilight. Twilight is very, very dumb. But there's a lot of dumb in this book. And then there's some interesting. So, you know, read it if you feel like it, whatever. The storyline is interesting. And in this book, I did think that them preparing for war was interesting. It was just then the actual war sucked. No stakes. I've already read I'm on the 5th book right now. I already read the 4th book, so I might go and review that right now. But yeah, so that's A Court of Wings and Ruin, y'all. Let me know what you thought. Ooh, did you have any death predictions? Let me know in the comments if you did. Who did you think was gonna die? Who would you have liked to see die? And I think that's it. Okay. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.